The book of Revelation is filled with symbols. Some of these symbols can be found right in the beginning of the book, in Jesus' letters to the 7 churches. 2 of them in particular stand out as having an immediate application to the church. Which 2 symbols am I talking about? I'm talking specifically about the white stones that Jesus says he's going to give to those who conquer, and the white garments he says he's going to give to those who overcome. What do these symbols represent? Let's get into it. In Revelation 2 and 3, Jesus is writing to the 7 churches of Asia Minor, the people to whom this book was originally addressed. Now, we can't say that everything in this passage applies directly to us, because some of the things in this passage are time and location specific. However, many of these symbols, including the ones we're talking about today, are meant to be applied to all churches throughout the entire church age. They apply to the Big C church. They apply to all of us. Now, what's the deal with these white stones Jesus says he's going to give to those who overcome? The first thing you need to know is that the word overcoming in the book of Revelation is almost always a reference to the people of God staying faithful to Jesus. It's about the people of God following him in the midst of a world that is desperate for our devotion and our worship. Overcoming or conquering, both of these words are the same word in the original Greek, refer to following Jesus, not being persuaded to allow the gods of this world to steal your affection. Simply put, the white stones in Revelation 2 are most likely a reference to the 1st century Roman tessera. These were coins or tokens that were used as admission tickets into public events, like those held at the theater or the Colosseum. These were most often clay shards that had a specific seat number stamped onto them. However, there were other types of tesseras as well that were a lot less common but just as well known. Wealthy people, like emperors, wouldn't use clay shards to invite people to their elaborate parties. They would use rare white stones or even small blocks of ivory. These would often be sent to their invitees with the person's name written on them. They would act as both an invitation and an admission ticket into whatever private banquet the wealthy person was hosting. It just so happens that at the end of this book, the book of Revelation, there is a very important feast that takes place in chapter 19. I promise you, this feast will take place one day in the future, and Jesus is hosting it. You are not going to want to miss it. This ties directly into the white garment symbol in Revelation chapter 3. Here, Jesus says essentially the same thing. To the one who overcomes or conquers, they will be clothed thus in white garments. What are these white garments exactly? They're wedding garments. That's what Jesus is talking about. For those who belong to him, for those who stay faithful to him during this life, at the end of the age, they are going to receive wedding garments. Do you see how both of these symbols are essentially conveying the same truth? Jesus is saying, my people, those who belong to me, are going to be a part of my great feast, my great banquet at the end of the age. I'm not only going to give them a personal invitation, but I'm also going to give them the clothes that they need in order to attend this great feast. The question is, what feast or banquet is Jesus talking about? Well, I think you already know. based on the type of clothing that Jesus is going to be doling out for this occasion. We're talking about a marriage banquet. At the end of Revelation, when Jesus returns, he will marry his bride, aka the church. One thing everyone should know about the book of Revelation, everyone who wants to be a faithful interpreter, is that it features several very important themes. One of these themes is that Jesus is seen as a bridegroom, and the church is the bride that is being prepared for him. Jesus tells us right from the jump that those who belong to him are not only going to get a personalized wedding invitation with their name written on it, but also wedding garments for the celebration. Why? Because if you belong to Jesus, then you are a part of his bride. And for those who wonder what God has been up to throughout this entire church age, and what he'll especially be up to putting the finishing touches on during the last 3.5 years of history, also known as the Great Tribulation, here it is. He is preparing a bride for his son. How is he doing it? By saving and sanctifying a people for himself who love the Lord more than life itself. So, that's what these two symbols in Revelation 2 and 3 represent. I hope this new bit of Revelation gets you excited and lights a fire under you. Look, Christian, the world is begging, pleading, vying for your affection. The gods of this world would love nothing more than to get your eyes off of Jesus and onto them, to get you distracted from what really matters, the life that you have coming. Resist that, church. Be an overcomer. Be a conqueror in Jesus' name. Stay faithful to him and make him the apple of your eye. Live your life for him. If you do, I promise you, on the day you enter his wedding banquet, with your personalized invitation in hand, dressed in brand new, spanking white clothing that Jesus had custom made for you, you will not regret the choice that you made to live for him.